And the recent shooting then at Buyani Primary School, raising concerns around the safety in schools. And to help us navigate some of the measures which can be taken to protect teachers and learners, I'm now joined by the General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies, Matakanye Matakanye. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Certainly an incident that has left many shocked. What is your reaction tonight?
Good evening, Bongiwe, and all your listeners. We are deeply, deeply hurt, and we want to send our deepest, heartfelt condolences to beloved family of Mr. Baloyi and the school and everybody who is by the school. And we also want to send a very, very strong message to the criminals out there that enough, it is enough. We have had enough of you, and call upon the police to ensure that these criminals are quickly brought to book, because our children, our teachers are really in shock, and call upon the Department of Basic Education to send psychologists, the psychosocial unit, to counsel all the children and all the teachers as well as parents in that particular school.
The department says then it has in fact started that particular process, but really when you listen to the neighbors and some of the parents who have children in that particular school, it needs to go further than that, because they're talking about the issue of safety then that has now been once again put in the spotlight, because we saw incidents around children and those were raising concerns around safety in schools. But now when you see principals themselves now being at the receiving end of such attacks, it really then shows that schools have become, areas then of grave concern when it comes to safety.
It is true that schools, hence I said we really had enough. We can't stand by when our principals, our teachers are being killed in schools, and our children simply means that they are no more free. Then we want to call also the school governing bodies to ensure that they work closely with the communities, so that communities must own these schools, because the government has already given these schools to the communities. These schools are called public schools. These are our schools, so that we must guard jealously against these criminals. We must always know who is going inside the school, who is going outside the school. Well, we are aware that there must be security at the gates. There must be security in the schools. We are not really living in the zoo, where you know that you are surrounded by animals. We are surrounded by people. Some of these people are our children, are our brothers, our cousins, everybody. Nobody can just come from so far and come and kill a principal in the school if it is not a person within the community, because the community even know that. But we are calling upon the school governing body and say, time is now. Guard against really anybody who wants to take away your mandate. Because we know that now there are people who are taking away the rights of the school governing bodies. School governing bodies do not govern in the school. Somebody governs on behalf of the school governing bodies. Time is now. School governing bodies must govern schools, so that this type of heinous criminals must come to an end.
And if I can, ask you there, you say that the rights of the school governing bodies are then taken away from them. Who would you say is behind this?
Well, there are a number of players in schools. You know that schools are given, school governing bodies are controlling amount of monies in schools. So there are a lot and lot of players in schools. So I will not just point a finger at a particular person, but you know, when there is money in the school, everybody wants to put his or her hand in that money. Therefore, then our children, our teachers, our principals are not safe because these criminals want to get their hands into that purse of the school. So finally, you'll find that now the mandate of the school government is being taken away so that somebody out there controls that purse of the school. So there are a lot of players in the school. And in this instance, we find that now those criminals, really, they wanted to take the purse away from the principals. But the purse is supposed to be with the governing body, not anybody else. So, and we also, Bongiwe, we want to also call upon the department, the local structure of the department next to school, the district. These people are not really working. District are not monitoring schools because quickly these people have got amounts, have got money, and they are employed also to monitor schools, but they don't do their work. We don't know what is going on in school because they will continuously inform us that now there is a threat there, there is this, then there is a confusion there, and there is a conflict there, and therefore the National Association of School Government will all be able to come in and support. But sometimes when then the parents come into the school, they have been questioned, what you want, and it means that now the school governing body in that particular place is not working. Because if the school governing body is working, but we don't blame the school governing body, we blame those players in the school.
I'd like to probe you further on the issue of districts, but I do understand that we've got Matakanye Matakanye on the line from the Gauteng SAPS just to talk to us about this. Matakanye Matakanye, good evening, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Earlier on today, we heard from the MEC that this may have been a hit. Is that what police are also probing as well?
Thank you very much and good evening. Well, we can't rule that out, but what I can tell you is that we are investigating a case of murder, and it was after when the police were called in the early hours of the morning at about 7 o'clock that there was a shooting at a primary school in Fine Town. And indeed, when the police responded, they found that there was a Mercedes-Benz which was idling, and the driver was sitting lifeless and with lots of bullets in the car. What happened is police summoned the relevant departments for scene investigation to make sure that we collect all the evidence which can assist us to find the perpetrator.
And Matakanye Matakanye, the police have also called on, members of the public to come forward with any information. It's been a few hours now. Has there been any development on that front?
And the team of provincially unit, the high-profile team of the investigators have been established to make sure that they run a program of 72 hours. We believe with the evidence they are following now, something will come out which we hope it will be giving us the direction as to what actually happened.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's continue then with our conversation. Matakanye Matakanye, when we were speaking just a short while ago, you were talking about, school governing bodies not then having, being able to do what they need to do. It sounds to me like then you are in agreement with some of these allegations that are in the public domain, that this appears to be a battle for resources.
Thank you, Bongiwe, once again. Resources are there, Bongiwe. The Department of Education, let's say the Department of Basic Education, Gauteng Department of Education in this particular case, they have a unit that is called school safety. that unit has all the resources. It has got cars, there are people. Their work is just to go and monitor schools so that where there are potential dangers, then they can quickly sensitize the police. So we really have a problem, but also a question of, as I said earlier, I think school governing bodies also is a resource, but it is not being given maximum support.
So what you're saying then is that, pardon me, what you're saying is that because the department says in its statement, and I'm going to read some of it, it says that budgetary constraints have meant that most schools could not afford armed guards and relied mainly on volunteers for security, something which is not ideal. That's what the MEC is saying.
I really don't know that, and I want to reiterate that we don't want our schools to be surrounded by police, to surrounded by soldiers, to be surrounded by security and all those things, so that these children will ask us questions. What is really happening? A school is a learning center. A school is a sacred place like a church. Why are these people not attacking churches? Because churches are secret places and schools are secret places. It's just that I don't know what has gone into communities where they don't respect any more schools. So we don't really want the guns and everything. School must be a gun-free school. But we're just saying, let's monitor schools, let's support schools so that we can quickly intervene. Police can intervene. Police are the only people who are carrying guns. We can't have people who are carrying guns in schools and all those things. Then it means that we must work with police. Police must be visible to schools so that we are able to protect the children, because the truth of the matter is that we don't have communities that we rely on and all those. These very communities now come in the school, want to steal, want to kill, want to do all this in the school. So then we are saying then we really need help. So I don't think it's true that statement that, of course, even if they can bring the amount of resources, monies, and all those, we hire police, we hire security, we hire this, we are living with them. They'll go there and kill within the police. I mean, when the police are there.
Dr. Makubele, you know, when you read the MEC's statement, he says that it is becoming the norm to visit families and tell them that somebody who left them to come to our schools has been permanently removed. This is the third case that I'm attending to in this area alone where our principals are targeted. He says that there's another 2 cases then in that particular area alone. What do we know about these 2 cases and where are they in terms of investigations? And also certainly it's concerning then that it appears that principals are being targeted.
Well, indeed, the cases like that might have happened, and we believe that they are still under investigation, and we hope one day those people who were involved in these criminal activities will be arrested. But the only thing which we are requesting from the community, we know that the people who committed this type of crimes are our children, our brothers, our uncles. They are within the community, and that somebody out there might know who is this person who have done this. So what we are humbly requesting from the community is to only give us the information as to who might have been involved in this type of incident, so that those people can be brought to book.
And Dr. Matakanye, as you know, we round up this particular conversation, let's then look at what needs to happen to ensure that these school governing bodies are able to do their work but protected as well, because it does look like the issue of resource allocations, because we do know the schools are controlling some kind of a budget and people do want in on those particular contracts that they could then get. It could be grass cutting, it could be the maintenance of the school. How then does the school governing body begin to ensure that it avoids such incidents where we are seeing some of those that may be unhappy about these allocations taking matters into their own hands in this way?
Exactly, that's what we are calling Bongiwe, to say communities, Department of Basic Education, give the school governing bodies a space to govern schools. When the money is allocated to the school, empower them, develop them, so that they know how best can they use that money. But we also want to call Bontate Makubela. Please, Bontate Makubela, ensure that your men and women really are supporting us. When we go and report these cases to them, it must not be a question of, no, we don't have transport, we don't have vans, we don't have people who have gone there and all those things. And these are the challenges that we are having in our schools. But also, we want to, I think the school governing bodies, for them to be supported, they must work closely with the so that once there is a potential, they quickly can go to police station and report. It must be a welcoming situation in the police station. But sometimes a police station is not a welcoming situation. I mean, you go there and they just look at it as if you have just killed a person or what, and whereas you are coming to kill this. So if then you get that type of, it's not friendly, then tomorrow you will not go. Even if there is potential, then you will not go there. You know the attitude and the values there are really not welcoming. So we want to call Bontate Makubela, please ensure that when you marshal your men, the men and women out there of uniform, then you don't forget us as schools. Then, and we said we must also have committees that will have police in them, so that you keep on developing the governing body, what is to be done if then this happens and that happens in terms of security. But we don't see that, you know.
Ntate Makubele, what's your response then to that?
Yes, indeed. As we request that we want to work with the community. We have our school monitoring team who are always from time to time checking at schools and see if the school have got problems or if there are any things to be reported, and then those teams take the reports. And also, we've got our adopt a cop at school, where a police person is always seeing that problems of problem children or child who are problematic at school are attended to with the social workers and organize the relevant people to make sure that those children are assisted. So that's why we're saying community, let's work together, let's build our schools, and let's make sure that criminals, they don't play in our schools by reporting them, by sensitizing us who are those people so that we can arrest them.
All right. Thank you so much to you both for your time. That was Matakanye Matakanye of the National Association of School Governing Bodies and Gauteng Police spokesperson K. Makubela.